So I have a few changes going on down here. Mostly the lettuce has finally gone to seed, it all turned bitter, and I am cleaning this one up. I've already cleaned up the other one, and I started some new seeds. Welcome back! Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new here, I'm Kathryn, the Aerogarden Homesteader, and I am showing you the indoor garden today. So I started these seeds probably about 4 days ago. They came up fast. Like, I saw some germination the next day. And if you're wondering what these are, I will show you in a minute what I did to get these seeds started and what I used, because these are cheap. And as you can see, they germinated. They're doing fine. Got some germination in the other ones. This is celery. I don't think it has germinated yet, but these are the same as what I used over here. And as you can see, the cilantro is doing really well, so I have high hopes that these lettuces will do really well, as well as the celery. So I will show you what I did for that and how I got these started. Then I will show you the rest of the garden update. Okay, I am going to start some more lettuce. I'm also going to start some celery. I want to get at least 2 of those. Probably do 2 of this Nevada since I haven't tried it yet, and 2 of this Lolo Bionda. Why would it end in an O and then an A? That's weird. Okay. So anyways, I am going to do the same trick I always do. So this is an empty Aerogarden. It's actually the one that had the green leaf, whatever it was, the green curly one. So that one has, I've taken it apart, it's gone to seed, well, it started bolting, it tasted bitter. But this is the trick, cotton balls. So it's pretty much the same as using the peat sponges, but you kind of have to like fluff them out a little bit to get them down to the bottom here. I've actually been using 2, and it seemed to work pretty well. So your mileage may vary depending on how thick your cotton balls are and how far you shove them down, kind of thing. You might be able to actually just leave them like this, but my fear was if there wasn't something underneath, the weight of the plant would push it down, so I don't know if it's worth giving it a try. You do want to kind of make sure that you fluff it to have a bit of a pocket. So you want a place for the seed to sit. So it's never going to be covered, but if you think about it, it's not covered with peat sponges either. So I have a little bit of water here. I'm going to get these wet. These will suck up a lot of water. So you're almost better off getting them wet and then like kind of squeezing them out a little bit. But we'll see what happens if let's just try it with one. Okay, so yeah, that did not take, oh yeah, see there, I just shoved it down by accident just by trying to get the water out. So maybe we will just put one on top. It should wick up, but we'll see. So we'll get, I'm going to start all of these in cotton balls to see how they do and take you along for the ride. So the cilantro was started in a cotton ball, and it's doing really well. It looks just as good as the ones started in the peat. So I feel like this is a very, very economical alternative to the peat sponges. Now I will probably just dribble a little bit of water on top just to make sure everything stays wet, but that's pretty much it. Yeah, it requires slightly more upfront work, but like, does it matter? Okay, now these are celery, and they are the tiniest seeds I have ever worked with. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to try to, I'll probably just try to get 3 in, I guess, and then I'll thin it to 1. So of course my mistake was I didn't get a second one going, but I didn't know how many seeds would come out, so we will see. Let's get another one going. But that's pretty much it. Just fluff it up, stick it down there, get it wet, put another one on top. So it does help if you just want to pull down from here, and then put another one on top. So I don't quite fluff the one on top quite as much, but I do try to sort of build in a little pocket. And when you push with your finger, it kind of, yeah, there you go, makes a nice little pocket as well. So get that wet. And like I said, I will go through and make sure the tops of these are actually wet, just so that the seeds will germinate. These seeds are so small you barely even see them in the thing. Okay, the nice thing about this, I don't know if you can see, you can actually see the seeds. They don't blend in. So You guys are going to be my memory. I put the 2 celery on this side. I'll probably put the Nevada in the middle, and then I'll put the white one on the outside. So I'll just zip through this. You don't need to watch me plant seeds. You have seen that before, but it's mostly just using the cotton balls and how those work. So that's pretty much it. So I will stuff the rest of these and get them seeded up and ready to go. And then I will obviously show you how these are doing once they start germinating. And there we go. I will get humidity domes on these, and I will just let them sit until they germinate, and then I will move them into their own Aerogardens at that point and fill them up with water. And depending on where I am in the feeding cycle, I will give them a little bit of food, or I will give them their regular feed. Kind of depends on obviously where I am in the feeding cycle. If I had just fed, I'll probably feed them. If not, I'll just give them a little bit to make it to the next feeding. So there we go. I will keep you informed of how this turns out. The tomatoes and peppers are doing amazingly well. This one just keeps getting taller and taller, honestly. This one's it's starting to push out a little more growth going up, but for the most part it's staying pretty compact. The peppers are still in there, still growing. They have not changed color, neither have the ones on this one. The tomatoes, they have some of the, so you can see how some of them have finished producing. These ones have not, but I've been going along and cutting off the ones that have finished production if there's no new growth on it. So see how this one's got new growth in the crook here. There's a little bit of new growth like in the crook over here, so I'll probably have to leave it, but anytime it's pushing out new growth, I leave it alone. And if there's like a grouping that is spent, I take those off. So this one's got new flowers, lots of tomatoes. It's a little bit crushed in there. I think the pepper plant is taking up a lot more room than I thought. It's not as tall as I thought it would be. So this one's got lots of room underneath the pepper, underneath the pepper plant. This one does not. And I do have, you can see this, a lot of the flowers have a lot of them are producing and a lot of them are drying up and dying off. So there's some over there that I think are doing the same thing. So actually underneath, you can see a lot of spent flowers that have just fallen. And I don't know if they're not getting pollinated or if it's just not enough nutrients. I think I'm using 50 ml of the stuff that I mix up, the master blend. So maybe I need to bump it up to 60 just to make sure they're getting enough. Not 100% sure. So edamame, it's looking pretty good. So I can see the pods are actually starting to fill out. So it's promising. Yeah, maybe I will get some edamame. Who knows? Yeah, so you can see this one here is filling out. This one is starting to fill out a little. So that's really good. So they're just everywhere. They're fuzzy and hidden, and they just blend in so well. So I didn't even know I had them until I saw a whole bunch. Where'd they all come from? So that is how the indoor garden is doing, and I will take you outside now. And finally, the outdoor garden. It is trucking along. It's doing pretty well. I think these are starting to perk up again. I don't know if maybe they just got too much sun, or maybe they weren't getting enough nutrients. I don't know. But there are some that are starting to look nice and vibrant again. I have a lot of chamomile seedlings coming up, but I don't know if they will grow up in time for me to get a second harvest. Which is a bit of a shame, but it's, it is what it is. And then my pork catmint, I'm not sure what's going on with it. It's like some of the limbs are dying off, and I don't know, maybe it's because they flowered. There's a whole bunch back here that are just looking kind of poorly, but I mean, I think the roots are fine because they're pushing out new growth. So it's probably okay, but it just looks really bad. But that is the catmint. So it's probably just going to put out a whole bunch of seeds and probably going to get too many. So over here, the tomatoes are doing really well. I've got some of the nasturtium growing right up through the tomatoes. So I got another pumpkin. I get the feeling that's about as big as that one's getting. That one is doing really well. There's a massive one there. So over here, there's 3 on this trellis, or 3 remaining on this trellis. What I am thinking of doing is I'm going to harvest these because I think they are ripe. They are, see the thing is all brown? Both of them actually. So all the ones that are near, the tendrils that are near the pumpkin are all brown on all of them. So I'm going to actually cut this vine out. There's 3 vines here, I believe. There's 1 on this side and 2 on the other side, I think. But I'm going to cut them out, and I'm going to let the kiwi here, so this is a kiwi, I'm going to let it get a bit more space, a little more sun. I'm going to try to weave up some of the ends. We've been trying to train it, but I think over here it was supposed to go left and it went right, and so we'll just have to see, you know, if we can just retrain that, and we're going to have to prune it and train it better, but we're getting there. And it is pushing out more flowers, more female flowers. I don't think it's going to have enough time to fully, you know, ripen the fruit, so there's just no more point in having the vine. Now the cucumber is doing really well. I thought, oh, I'm not going to have very many cucumbers left, and like, what, there's like 8 of them right here in this one spot. 7. And then I think there's another one hiding over there in the tomatoes and the nasturtiums. But as you can see, this vine is not doing the greatest either, which is interesting that the sort of the center part is not doing well, but all of the outer branches are doing fine. Over here, my poor tomato plant has fallen down on the ground, and now I have to kind of find the fruit before the slugs get to it. We are not winning the slug war. The slugs keep getting to our strawberries before we have a chance to get to them. They will literally eat them 2 days before they are ripe. So you just can't win. And the beans are just absolutely getting decimated. I don't know if they will actually make it. This one's looking pretty good. There's another one over there in the tomatoes that's looking pretty good. But the tomatoes, I had one tomato plant, really interestingly enough. I think it was this one. So yeah, so you can see it pushed out a sucker on the side, and it's got this beautiful growth now, right when, you know, basically fall is hitting. Same thing with this one. So there's a couple of them that pushed out side suckers that look really nice compared to the main plant. So I don't know what happened with that. But yeah, the garden is just trucking along. I do not think I have any zucchini. I'm going through a zucchini dry spell, which, you know, I'm okay with that. But it is just odd that everyone complains about their zucchini plants being highly prolific, and like I don't see that with mine. So I do have one coming in right there. But for the most part, I actually feel like the tomato cage was a bust. It did go upright more, but it also put out a whole bunch of side growths that went sideways. So I couldn't really keep up with it. This pumpkin, I might see this tendril is all dry as well. So it might be ready to pick, even though it looks still like it's got some green on it. That might have to be one that I eat first. There's a little puncture in it. But yeah, so that one I should probably cut and you know, try to pull it out as well. But we'll see. And then, you know, the sunflowers turned out to be beautiful, but the heads on them were so small that I don't know that I can actually save any and make it worth the effort, sort of thing. But you know what? Maybe the chickens won't care. Getting a little bit of color. It's still hard as a rock. Like, maybe it's softening up. It's just hard to tell. I don't want to pick it too early. So, but anyways, that is how the garden is doing. There really isn't much that's new. It's just everything is just going along the way it has been. Got my little mini, I might actually save these mini jalapenos because I have a whole bunch of tomatoes in the freezer. I might just take the stems off and freeze them, and then when it's time to do roasted salsa, I can throw those in and with the roast and have a nice spicy batch, or I can just not throw them in and have a mild batch. So it'll give me a little bit of flexibility. I'll just freeze them separately. And I'll probably freeze some of those mystery peppers and any other peppers I can find in the garden that are, you know, questionable Scoville units. So anything that's going to be spicy, I'll just set aside and make a spicy batch for my husband, and anything that's just mild, I will set aside for my son. That's pretty much it. I did collect some potatoes. I will show you. It was a pretty small amount. So that one is empty. I should have started carrots in it. Too bad.
And
I kept thinking, oh, I should put carrots in it, but I just keep forgetting. So I'll try to put some carrots in there. I think they'll do really well. These potatoes are still doing really well, so I'll let them go a little longer. The ones I harvested were kind of small, so maybe these ones will get a little bit bigger, but we'll see. So yeah, oh, I had to pick those. They did have aphids in it, but these ones are They're doing pretty good. I think they're broccoli. It's hard to tell. Could be cauliflower, I guess, but I think it's broccoli. So that is that. I hope you found this video useful. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hey, if you do the cotton ball trick, let me know how it turns out for you. I'm really curious. I don't want to be the only one who managed to get something to work, so let me know below if you made it work and how you liked it. I will have some videos up at the end for you to also check out, and I will see you next time on the Aerogarden Homestead.